Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles! In the last episode, we had a little chit-chat with Wilson, who is a very cool young girl. But see for yourself, watch the last episode if you haven't already. We are at the second part of the investigation for this case already, so let's just get into it. It's the 19th February at 2:38 p.m. at Bry Road. Let's get rolling. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. So she gave us this, the postcard. A card for Inspector Gregson with a message on the back from Iris. So if I want to just converse with him, that's not going to do it. So we have to present a little present to him. Let's do that. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment?
I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? From her ladyship?
Her ladyship?
Give that here at once! Come on, hand it over. That's for me.
Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly?
It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee. That's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see you mean.
That's right. For the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time.
Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still.
I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you.
Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then?
Ah? Sorry?
Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem. It says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, the little knife-wielding mustached Japanese fella. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there, look.
Uh-huh. On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of bicycles popped up. That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. Garrideb.
Right.
Well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards. You hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector, we will.
Goodbye for now then. And long live her ladyship.
He's a fan. He's a fan.
Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left.
Yes, so then shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely.
Alright, so we do just do that, I guess? Seems like it.
That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history.
Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here.
According to Inspector Gregson, that's the house where Mr. Natsume has lodgings.
Just across the road from where the incident took place, I see. It must be awful for Soseki-san getting caught up in something like this in a foreign land. Alright, so we have to move apparently. I just want to check over. We have all the check marks. And apparently we do. Sorry to keep you waiting, but I want to be thorough. I really want to be. New location has been added. It's the lodgings. The lodgings of Mr. Soseki Natsume, according to information gleaned from Inspector Gregson. I don't know why I did that accent. Let's just go. Sorry. Oh, okay. Oh. 19th February, Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
May I help you?
Yes, would this be the residence of Mr. John Garrideb?
Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say calling?
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I am,
Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client.
One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garrideb.
Did you see that, Mr. Sato?
sorry. Did you see that, Mr. Sato? That was a real-life English maid.
I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better.
It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it?
We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete.
Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment.
Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrideb will see you now. This way.
Oh, he's... Okay, we can't converse, we have to examine. And I'm gonna do that, of course. Oh, there's... Okay,
This window looks out over Briar Road, where the young woman was attacked.
Oh yes, I can make out the policeman on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene.
The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly.
Does this thing open at all, I wonder?
I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir.
Sorry?
As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you.
It seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything of the incident then. Huh, peculiar. Okay, so let's look at these Perriers.
Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely.
Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? Uh-huh.
I'm going to have a very quick look, just a little peek. Ahem, ahem.
Maybe let's not, Mr. Sato. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea.
Ahem, ahem.
Okay, unfortunate. What about this? Okay, this doesn't matter. Let's have a look at the picture. That portrait of Mr. Garrideb is glaring at me, I swear.
Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garrideb as well?
Yes, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well.
Oh, yes. Seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket.
Seem to come back? What do you mean?
The chap who runs the place is a bally wizard. Went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need.
The lion ornament certainly does seem surplus to requirements.
Sato-san doesn't pull her punches, or her throws for that matter. Yes. I want to look over here for a bit. So, what are these shelves? Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful?
Uh-huh.
Although the shelves seem to be broken and the crockery is... Oh dear, it's in pieces.
Uh-huh. It really is. The word crackhead wouldn't do that china with justice.
Ah, I wonder... Perhaps the cannon was fired at it.
Yes, probably something like that. But let's not delve too deeply here. Look at the candelabra.
This old candle holder looks a little out of place here, wouldn't you say?
Yes, you're right. It's clearly supposed to be gold, but it's almost completely black for some reason.
That old thing, yes. Just a cheap piece of your ironmongery. Game crack, really.
Oh,
Used it when I was studying, don't you know? For my commission. I know it's old, hardly worth hanging on to, really. But, well, still has its uses sometime.
Of course.
does everything in this room have some elaborate story behind it?
They're memories, Mr. Naruto. Memories.
That is true. So we looked at the window. So this seems important. What is this?
Oh, look. What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up? It looks more like someone has half demolished them to me.
Afternoon tea is a time for indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garrideb's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful.
Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally, and it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrideb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up.
How magnanimous of you. Okay, it wasn't that important. I thought it might be important. But things are out of place here. That's a little weird. It's really weird. Let's look at the medal or the...
That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner.
Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say, although it bothers me that it's not straight.
What? That old thing?
Sorry?
I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I dispose of it. The wall's the best place for it. Keeps the bally thing out of my way.
So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose.
There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look. It says, for distinguished participation.
Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for.
Well, one doesn't like to blow one's trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles.
Okay. So he's kind of a show-off. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it?
It's clearly been well looked after, though.
That old thing? Pah, not much better than rags, really.
Oh?
Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past, mate.
Would have gladly thrown it out.
But you know how it is. Anyway, doesn't hurt to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it?
Oh, I see.
Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. The canon is... What about the books first? I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garrideb. Do you enjoy reading?
Ever experienced a London winter, boy? The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book.
Oh, there's a copy of Rand's magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Garrideb enjoys the adventures of Sherlock Holmes too.
The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. Okay. So, the cannon is of interest, of course. That's a full-sized cannon! What's it doing in here?
Oh my, it's real! I thought it might be a replica.
That old thing. Bah, that's little more than a toy.
Sorry?
The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon by the house.
Really? It isn't overkill?
Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy.
Do you think there might be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrideb?
Always is. Take Joan here, never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. They dry very well in the cannon there, Joan tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel.
It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. Alright, we have had a look at everything of interest, apparently. Yes, check marks everywhere, check marks everywhere. So let's check out Joan first, if possible.
Good day to you, John Garrideb. At your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Narodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back at the Battle of Maywand. Don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but I had to withdraw from service, handed over the reins to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier. Yeah, we figured that out from his outset.
It's a hell of a job getting up and downstairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine.
Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting on the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Narodo.
Do you think so?
Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it wasn't nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joe? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch the... Oh! Dash it all, woman! Be careful!
Oh, dearie me! I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands.
I shall be more careful, sir.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yes, I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs. Is that right?
Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only too pleased, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
Even had some famous detective poking around, you know, in this old house. Would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea. All that detective business.
But you have a copy of Rand's magazine here, so...
No,
Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner room as we speak.
So he's in Soseki-san's room.
Oh, maybe we get to do a dance of deduction. It would be so awesome.
it's a bawling nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood is twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
Alright, so let's talk about Mr. Natsume.
About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrideb. Please do tell us.
Ah yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then? I have 2 lodges most of the time. One on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor remote room became available a week ago. You... Oh! Dash it all, John! Do be careful!
Oh my goodness! I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh, why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, John, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's going to do something untoward. And I'm really wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure.
Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, oh yes, indeed there was.
And she's dying to tell us. The shady lodger. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume?
Oh my word, yes! The man was shadier than an orchard. Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshelf every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too.
Oh, I see.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Ah. She's very nosy, very noisy.
Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh! I'd understood that neither of the lodgers live on the floor of the house. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes, they're both below us, on the first floor and street level.
Then, how is that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed.
Oh! Good grief, John! Be more careful, woman!
Oh my goodness, sir! I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Something doesn't add up here. The incident 2 days ago. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time? The window?
Yes, we noticed the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrideb household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh, I see.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as?
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well...
Yes? Was there something then? Well, it's nothing particularly significant about... But... Oh! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing!
Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman.
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow?
Oh, yes? Narrow Hollow.
I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, really? But that's weird because Natsume-san came storming in and they didn't notice. That's a little bit iffy. Oh really, Mr. Garrideb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really nothing. Oh! Joan, dash it all! What is the matter with you, woman?
Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened.
That's weird. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quite uneventful meal. Joan?
That's right, Mr. Garrideb.
What is the matter with these two?
It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what?
I wish I knew. Mr. Natsume's room. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Why, certainly. Just below us on the first floor.
And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there even as we speak?
Yes, told me Nuts his name had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services?
That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around in Mr. Natsume's room, I mean? Don't see why not. It's just down on the flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we?
Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
Well, well, well. Well, well, well. Can we present something? No, we can't. We can't even converse, so we had to talk to these people. And that's pretty much all, so that means we can move now. Is that correct? Yes, we can. But unfortunately, guys, I'm going to leave you with a cliffhanger here, because I'm pretty sure you want to see Mr. Sholmes again, as do I. But we're gonna do so in the next episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. See you then.